Hey, Purple Nova X, how are you? Good that you came and gave a comment there. So here's your comment. The core thing is my perception. I perceive my body should be different to what it is. Here's our difference. You would say there should be a way to be able to achieve peace despite the body. I say I would rather be an ugly woman than a handsome bloke. I'm not asking to be a better looking anything, just more in line with what is seen to be of my gender. My penis is a good size and it disgusts me. I'm embarrassed by my penis. It makes me sad to have one. Okay? And, God, sorry, my leg has gone dead, gone numb. Yeah, so it's everybody's perception, okay? Their own way they see themselves, and then there's the perception or the people looking at us. The people, when they look at me, they go, okay, I'm a male, and I'm fucking not a male. When I was playing football yesterday, it's quite obvious that I'm more female in all sorts of ways. I mean, they realise that I'm not as tough as males generally are on the pitch. Psychologically as well. Last few weeks ago when I was playing football again, a guy came up to me and went, boo! When I had the ball and he wanted to scare me out of running away from the ball, essentially. Like, that simple. It felt like I was back in the school playground. I looked at him and went, aha, But that's the sort of thing I had to deal with when I was younger, I was always a guy going to be treated like a guy, blah blah. Even though when I was younger, I absolutely looked, androgynous, really. And I've only learned about that word in the last few years. The actual word androgynous, the scientific label for somebody who basically doesn't, as far as I understand the terminology, the definition of that word is androgynous, somebody that doesn't look one way or the other, male or female. You can't tell, and there's a lot of people out there in the world. You don't see them in a lot of the regular places. You wouldn't see them in a public swimming pool, for instance. These people are generally scared to be showing to a gender or a sex their bodies, because they might be hermaphrodites. They could be just. You see, we have to get to a point, Purple Nova X, of we're basically talking about people, and it's not moving from male to female or female to male, because I think the reality is, even though it's not a fact, is that there is no male out there, or at least there's very rare males out there that absolutely show every sort of characteristic and body look of a male. I don't think you can find 100% male or 100% female anywhere. And it's a complicated situation. You say that you would say there should be a way to be able to achieve peace despite the body. I mean, plastic surgery, essentially, of any type, getting your breasts reduced or enlarged, or whatever, is, that's been going on for years. In my opinion, there are too many women out there with fake breasts, because they felt that the stereotypical beautiful woman had blonde hair and big tits. And there's a lot of guys out there, or let's say a lot of people that like the woman look. A lot of those people, they don't actually like big tits. So there's been a lot of plastic surgery going on for many moons, and it seems in this day and age that it's perfectly acceptable by psychiatrists and by plastic surgeons themselves. It seems perfectly acceptable in this day and age to go and fix yourself. If your nose is not right, fix the nose. If your face and cheekbones, you don't like them, they stick out and whatever, and they're like this, then fix it, get right, get perfect. And I mean, I'd love to not have this crap under my eyes, but it's there. I could get plastic surgery and do something with that. Not a good example today, but You know, I don't like my wrinkles either. I'm only 32. I don't want wrinkles. Yeah? But c'est la vie. That's the way it is. I don't like the way that I'm hormonally imbalanced. I wish I was just a normal male. I wish males and females really existed, and I could be one of the two. But unfortunately, the way I see it, my perspective is that none of us can be one of male or female, because we are automatically a mixture of it in characteristics, in behaviours, in looks, in genetics, in hormones, in whatever, you know, in all sorts of things. So it's just like my point that I'm trying to get through, and I hasn't got through yet, but I'll keep trying, is, and it's not a fully, I haven't thought about it too much in my life, okay, but it's theory, it's a thought, it's an opinion. You know, handicapped people who were born deformed, horrible word, isn't it? Yeah, sick. It's a sick medical labelling system out there that needs to be fixed. I think the fixing needs to be on the medical side of things. I think we need to fix the mind of every single doctor in the planet, and fix their mind, make them realise that there are huge differences between people, and that we cannot continue to label people just as male or female, or deformities within those two perfect pillars. Where are we? There. Two pillars, you know, the two pillars of society, male and female, and anything in the middle of that, deformed, weird, mutation, disorder, dysfunction, negative. Simply, we have to be people, and it cannot go on like this. That, you know, you'd rather be an ugly woman than a handsome bloke. How about just be a gorgeous looking, beautiful person as you are? How about that? How about people start to really love themselves? You know, these sorts of things that are basic for fundamental understanding of what love is for other people as well, is to love thyself. I know that as well myself, because it took me years and years to actually be able to actually like myself. You know, had a lot of issues there, and a lot of my issues to do with self-worth and love of myself were to do with the fundamental facts that I couldn't actually love being treated as a guy, and I couldn't love this idea that I was a guy, because I didn't feel I was a guy. Now, is that a case for somebody who should transition? Is it? Is it really like? Does everybody need to transition from one sex to another just simply because they have feelings that I've just described there? Yeah, think about that, please. Some of you will do absolutely what you feel is the right thing to do. Who's to know that this side of the road is better than this side of the road? When we cross the road, we can decide, I actually prefer that other side of the road. Maybe I'll go back. But with sex change, can you go back? No, probably not. I don't know. Can you go back? Question. So I think, you know, with handicapped people basically are, born that way, and there's not a lot they can do about it to change. Now, people, to get sex changes, they've a lot of opportunity. I'm not against sex changes, okay? I'm not against them. But I do think that there needs to be more than a psychiatrist who's only looking at the medical statistics of all sorts of other patients or examples. And they don't really have a clue about how you're feeling, if you ask me, most of them. They're just looking at statistics, and they've got ground rules to go on that are set out by the medical establishment out there in the world, which are simply substandard. What's more important than a psychiatrist, if you ask me, is a psychologist. A psychologist who is much better than a psychiatrist. I've been to psychiatrists, I've been to psychologists, I've been to neurologists, I've been to counsellors, I've been to family therapy blah blahs, I've been to all sorts of things. I've been to a lot of better people, like healer type people, alternative medicine type people. Some of them, obviously there's a lot of people out there, pseudo people, they haven't a clue, they don't know what they're doing, they're just ripping you off. But don't think for a second that your psychiatrist or your even doctor, GP, is not ripping you off too. Think about it logically. Is it worth the money for 10 minutes of your doctor's time? Getting answers to stuff that are just simply going to turn out mostly wrong in the future when you go on the internet and find better information. I think transgenderism has come about because plastic surgery is so accepted, and there's too many people who don't love themselves, and they hate their bodies, and they hate the mismatch of body and mind. Now they believe it's a mismatch between body and mind. This is my opinion. I think they believe. But actually, it's not a mismatch. It's just society's more complex. Bye.